Yo, what is up, guys? It is, of course, your boy, the YouTube channel, Life as a Chad, back at it with another one. And this one is probably going to be going against the grain a little bit. I had some motivation, some what they call, good old-fashioned
inspiration.
After watching several YouTube videos within varying lengths, but really the same topic, and that is guys getting exposed in the red pill / Manosphere community. And I'm going to try and come at this with the most truthful, honest, fair way I can. And I'm not, right off the bat, guys, I'm not here to expose anybody in particular. I'm not here to attack anybody in particular. I just want to share my thoughts about the red pill and the manosphere, the good and the bad, that I think men should think about before ingesting some of the content and things of that nature.
But before we get into any of that, I want to ask you guys to consider hitting that subscribe button. Support your boy. Help your boy out here.
This channel is only a couple months old. I have enjoyed the journey thus far. And I think the more that we dive into this, I don't think all of my takes are right in line with one philosophical mindset or the other. I think there's varying degrees here. At the end of the day, my motivation is the truth. I want whatever is going to help me out the most, which therefore would help you out the most, especially as men and things like that. We look at politics, we look at relationship stuff, what will help men in their journey, tips and things like that. The positive of the red pill / manosphere community. Okay. Number one, I think it does a good job of being honest, or trying to be honest, about female nature. I think by and large, it tries not to pedestalize women, which is a big issue. I think, it's a big reason why so many women out here, especially average women, have such a jaded sense of self that is so against the grain of reality that sometimes it's laughable, sometimes it's, very frustrating. Whatever your take is on it, it is outlandish. Okay. So I think they do a good job of holding women accountable and sharing with men that men do not need to necessarily pedestalize at every turn anything and everything that is women. And I'll tell you right now, even within the right of center, which I would say I am, part of the internet, and therefore content that I make, there's still a lot of people who would consider themselves right-leaning that come after me anytime I critique or have an opinion that is not totally in support or totally positive of a woman. I have made a few videos on Sydney Watson and her political takes. I don't think I was ever personal in those videos. I think I did my best job to critique her time on a very popular, very successful show, which I got to give credit where credit is due there. She definitely has a big channel, which maybe I could have emphasized a little bit more. But in general, all I did was critique her politically and how she presented herself on the You Are Here channel. And in my experience thus far, in my short journey on YouTube, you can always expect both left-leaning and right-leaning and center guys to come out of the woodworks and support everything woman. and pretty much not hear a gosh darn thing that the video is discussing. So I want to say that, okay? So I absolutely understand that aspect. What I'm getting at with that is left or right or center, there's a good segment of the population of men who are simps, who are totally simps and will not say a negative thing about any chick that is out there. And I think the Manosphere and the Red Pill community does a good job of trying to hold women accountable and calling out BS, bullshit behavior, toxic behavior that is not in line with what it should be, not because of like the patriarch or anything like that, but just what we believe it is to be a good human being. So I think they do a good job of that. Another thing that I think the Red Pill and the Manosphere community does that is good is promoting self-improvement. Now, some of it is bullshit self-improvement. And sometimes, and I guess you could also put this on the negative side, but for the most part, I think it's a positive push. And it's a good thing to strive for. Now, I will say that occasionally what ends up happening is you have guys who end up consuming a shit ton of the content, but not applying it to their life, which I will say is a total mistake. If that's what you're doing, it's a total mistake. If you are not applying it to your life, if you are not watching something to directly apply it to yourself or ask yourself on an intellectual level if it will help you out in your journey as a man, then it's a waste of time. It's totally a waste of your time. But I cannot fault the Manosphere or the creators who promote that. I can only fault the men who watch and don't apply it to their life. So I'm not going to attribute that to the creators or anything of that nature. The third thing that I think is a really positive thing that the Manosphere and the Red Pill community does is promoting the idea or the push of men to have balls and go and approach women. This is something that our forefathers absolutely had to do in varying degrees throughout history, especially in the West. It is vital. And in a day and age now where the internet and technology is being propped up more and more, there is a large segment of men who will opt out entirely of doing that, whether it's to play video games, whether it's to watch TV, whether it's to bullshit around. That's what they will do. Now, on the flip side, I'm not saying that in and of itself is all bad. I certainly don't think on the flip side that, as I already said previously, that it's a good idea to pedestalize women. So both extremes are both bad. But in general, promoting the idea of approaching and having the balls to strike up a conversation with a woman or women rather is a good thing. The final positive, and I would say that there's probably a few more positives, but for the sake of time, I'm just going to keep it limited to a couple. The other positive that I think of the Red Pill and the Manosphere, and I'm going to couple a few things here together, is a community for men. Men need a community of men where it's just men, basically. Now, I would say that there have been some women who have infiltrated, maybe not in a malicious way, but nonetheless have found their way into the Red Pill community for whatever reason. As I said, it could be, it may not even be malicious, okay? But I would argue that anywhere you have men, you will have women who follow. And there is definitely a selfish intention, whether it's monetarily or some emotional thing, that some of these chicks who are in the Red Pill / Manosphere are trying to fulfill, okay? But in general, it is a community where men can hang around other men and share ideas and knowledge amongst each other, which is vital. That's why I have made a few shorts stating that I think men, even if you don't smoke cigars, should go to a cigar lounge because that is a place where men hang out and you can share ideas. I know from experience that if I were to start a business tomorrow, the first place I would go to ask people how to get my shit done and what roadblocks to look out for and shit like that, the first place I would go is the cigar lounge. I would ask the person who owns it, and I would probably wait all day for different guys to come in and ask them for their takes on it. Not only that, but it's a great place to network as well. Okay. But in general, going back to the Red Pill and the Manosphere, again, it's a place where men can get together and share knowledge and ideas amongst each other. As I said, I'm going to be coupling this together. And in that same vein, I think it's good to have a space where men's issues are discussed. And so men don't feel so segregated in society, because the West specifically was at risk of doing that. Okay. There is a large segment of men who have totally opted out of anything that men used to do in the past that mostly have to do with women and the normal, I guess, life of a man. Okay. Being a part of your community, having a wife, raising kids, things like that. There is a large segment of men who have totally opted out because they feel like they are being attacked by the modern West. They feel under siege, and I understand that. And so it's good to have a space where men feel that their voices are being heard and are being expressed. Okay, that is very, very important. So those are the positives that I would say are surrounding the Red Pill and the Manosphere community. Now for the negative.
Wrong.
In the same vein of one of the positives, which is pushing men and promoting men to have the balls to go and chat it up with women and approach women. In the same vein, I think that there is nearly the entire Manosphere and the Red Pill community that breaks it down far too much because men are logical. And anytime men think deeply about something, they are going to take it to its logical conclusion, and it's going to be very calculated. There's positives to that, and there's negatives. Sometimes you need some soul. Sometimes you need some emotion, okay? And I think sometimes they turn this into way too much of a mathematical equation. And not only that, but they turn it into this circular wheel where men feel that they don't have confidence. So they watch a video to figure out how to do it. And then they watch some of the content, and the content tells them that they have no chance if they don't make $100,000, if they don't have 6-pack abs, if they don't have a 6-inch schlong, or if they don't, or longer, or if they, aren't 6 feet tall. Okay. I got news for you. All of those things, all of those check boxes, most people are not fitting that. Okay. They're not checking all of those boxes. So what does that mean? So you just don't, so you just totally opt out. Well, I guess that's a solution. I would say that that's not a solution. And I wouldn't want the content that I'm that I'm pushing. I'm speaking for the Manosphere here to do that, but they do that because it keeps men buying their shit and their courses and their, the knowledge that they're sharing. Okay. And that to me is not healthy. At the end of the day, it's this simple. It is this simple. Do you have the courage and the ball sack to go and approach a chick? That's all it comes down to. You don't need all of this calculated, how to text this chick. How long do you wait to text back? Where do you set up the date? How many chicks are you going to have in a rotate? It gets way too complicated. It gets way too complicated, and it gets way too much. Okay. Nobody could remember all of that shit. And how do you even know for sure that it's all totally accurate and bulletproof? You don't. You don't. All you can do is go by experience. And the best way to gain experience, it's just like running a business. And I would say the same thing if I was giving advice on how to run a business, even though I haven't, fair enough, is to just do it and gain experience. Or at the very least, go through, if you can, go through a mock run of it. Now, you can't do that with approaching. The closest thing that you can do to a mock run if you're approaching is not asking chicks out and just saying what's up to chicks and striking up conversations with random chicks, when you can. Set a goal for yourself to strike up 5 conversations with 5 chicks that that you could either find attractive, maybe not. It doesn't matter. Just, setting a goal for yourself and doing that so you get more and more comfortable just talking to chicks and gaining the experience. So that is one negative of the red pill and the Manosphere is at some point, and I think, well, I said I wasn't going to drop names here. Let's just call him the Godfather. I think that it becomes way too calculated, and a lot of approaching and relational stuff is just off of your own fucking swagger, your own, your soul, your cojones. That's what a lot of it is. Do you really think that you're going to be able to go up to a chick and remember, okay, I got to remember this pickup line. Okay, I got to keep frame. I got to keep eye contact. Okay, don't laugh at the joke. Okay, put her down here. Laugh at it's just way too much. Way too much. So it being too calculated is one negative of the red pill and the Manosphere. And at the end of the day, as I already said, you don't need to spend a $10,000 on a course to basically give you the courage and the ballsack to go approach women because you just drained a bunch of your resources. Because that's really what it is. Really, you end up doing it when you spend $10,000 because you spent $10,000 and you don't want it to go to waste. When you could have just done it in the first place on your own by expressing in yourself that you can do it, that you can accomplish this on your own. The number 2 problem with the Manosphere and the red pill is just authenticity and knowing what's real and what isn't. Like any industry, there's a lot of bullshit. And for a novice, it is hard to see what is legit and what isn't. And that's when a lot of mistakes are made, quite frankly. That's when a lot of mistakes are made. And if you even, and this is the whole reason that I made this video, if you just spend when you enter the red pill or the Manosphere, by the end of it, where you inevitably end up is watching exposed videos where each one of these guys is getting exposed by this guy, and then that guy is getting exposed by this guy. This guy ain't legit because of this or this or this. And the reason that happens is because from these creators is, number 1, because they're trying to make money. And number 2, it's because of this false idea that there's only one version of a man that is a man. And what I mean is the stereotypical, this guy is the top G because he pulls all these bitches and he has this car and he makes money, so he's the top G. Well, that's not every man, and I wouldn't argue that that is 100% what being a top man means. What I would argue a top man means is, number 1, feeling comfortable with who you are as a man. Yes, there are some masculine qualities that go along with that, but not every man's version is the Lambo, the $100,000, the getting all these bitches and things like that. It's not the same for every man. A perfect example of what I'm saying here is you have one guy who theoretically does well cold approaching and gets numbers and things like that. And he calls out a guy like Jocko Willing or Willich or whatever the fuck his name is, that he is a simp. And it's like, well, hold on a second. Okay. Maybe he doesn't cold approach women left and right, but on the same vein, he's a fucking Navy SEAL. So say what you will about him, but that's more masculine than almost anything. I would argue that that's more masculine than pulling chicks. Now, some people would disagree, but again, the point is that there is not just one version of a man that is the man's man. Okay. There are multiple versions. And as I said, I would just say that as long as you're true to yourself, you have honor, you have discipline, you work out, you try and stay fit, you're honest, you're truthful, and you stay by your convictions. Those are masculine qualities. You're a protector. Those are masculine qualities. You're spiritual. That's what I would add, the spiritual aspect. Some guys wouldn't. Okay. It's not just the fucking Lambo and, this and that. Those are just meant to sell shit. Okay. And I got I'll get to that here in a second. It's just meant to sell shit. And as we've seen with multiple guys like this, a lot of that stuff, how do I say this? If you see a guy with all those things, isn't it still possible that deep down on the inside, he has no honor? He is not a truthful guy. But wait a second, he has a Lambo. Okay, yeah, but okay, is he honest? Does he care about truth? Is he disciplined? That's just one thing. That's just one avatar. Just one avatar. And I got news for you with the Lambo stuff and the money and shit like that. It should be painfully obvious at this point that all of this shit can be faked. That's why sometimes I don't like putting thumbnails on my videos, because it's bullshit. It's fake. It's meant to get you to click on the video. And all these creators know that. I know that. You know that, but you still click on on a thumbnail that has some busty ass chick. It's hilarious how some of these red pill videos will have 3 busty chicks on it to get you to click on it, but in the video they're trashing these women for being women, for doing their female nature. Okay, which is not surprising. So all this shit can be faked. There's no way for you to know if it, aside from seeing actual receipts, there's no way for you to know that it's legit. And even if it is legit, as I said previously, you still will not know if this guy has honor, if he's truthful, if he's honest, if he's disciplined. You still will not know. The third issue I have with the red pill and the manosphere is, and I think Destiny, even though I do not agree with that nerd on anything but maybe this, is in a lot of circumstances, the red pill and the manosphere ends up going far to the other direction, which ends in as much sadness and anger and misery as going so far this way. The leftist simp, pedestalizing version. But in its own regard, this side, the PUA, ends up pedestalizing and revolving their whole world around women as well. Because the whole reason that they exist is the fundamental underlying situation of it all is so that you can get more chicks, which in and of its own right is pedestalizing. It may not be pedestalizing in the same way, but it still is. And even further down this line, you have the incels or uncels, I guess, who basically can, believe that they can't get women and they have no reason to or don't want to get women, and the MGTOWs. who end up allowing women to negatively impact their emotions so much that they completely decide to not engage with them at all, which is again allowing them to control your emotions and your life just in the opposite direction, which is a mistake. I've long said since day one that and this I guess you could say is a positive of the red pill and Manosphere community. They came out with the idea of living your purpose, which I agree with. I do, and you should be on your purpose as a man. That is what you should be on. But those same guys, unfortunately, will pedestalize in the opposite direction as these lefty nerds, which you should, both sides you shouldn't be doing. If as a byproduct of you being on your purpose, you end up having these women gravitating towards you, then that's a different thing entirely. But if you end up having your entire life revolving around women and having sex with them and being with them, it's going to be unfulfilling as well. And this is where I specifically would depart from a lot of the red pill and the Manosphere community, because I am a Christian, and I would say that it is unfulfilling, and your spirit, we're having a crisis of spirituality in the West, in this country, and that route ends up being as unfulfilling as this route. The extremes are both very unfulfilling. And in the end, you need to find your purpose and your meaning in life as a man that you can strive to and set a goal towards, because there's nothing more attractive that women find than a guy who is ambitiously striving towards a goal with his blinders, his focus totally on it, who does so in an honest, disciplined, and honorable manner. Yet you have a lot of these red pill Manosphere guys saying, no, that's bullshit. You got to be treating these hoes out here like garbage. Yes and no. Yes and no. Some women you do because they're trash. But women who are not trash don't like that shit and can see that garbage a mile away because they've had a good dad. They've had a good family. They're solid women. So it can lead in just as, spiritualist wasteland of, that sentence wasn't as good as it could have been. You can be as spiritually unfulfilled and in a wasteland, in a void, going that way as you can this way. And, I remember listening to someone discuss how, basically, especially men, if you look at a graph, once you make enough to have your basic needs met fairly easily, you're basically happy. And the more you make past that, your happiness does not go up because your needs are met, and that's all you need. Look for what you have a passion in, what you enjoy doing, and have a laser vision focus on that. And I would say, yes, you need to go to church. Yes, the church has become super feminized and shit like that. But yes, you still need, as a man, to have your spirituality met. And you do need to find meaning and purpose in life. You do. Because that is ultimately the goal that most men have. That is one of the most masculine characteristics that men have, is their pursuit of meaning. Why we're here. Not just as a species, but as an individual. As an individual. So, again, in summary, a lot of these guys can totally bullshit, totally, falsify the receipts. It's fairly easy. All it takes is a credit card and some imagination. That's all it takes. And in the end, you don't even need all that bullshit. Just get the courage and get the ball sack to go and approach some chicks. Say what's up, say hi. Women are not, I know Jesse Lee Peterson would disagree, but women are not necessarily inherently evil. You know, they're not necessarily out to get you, you know, I would say. So, you know, if you're bad at approaching and you totally are like nervous around chicks, just say what's up, get the balls, get the courage to do it. If you're not and you don't care about that and you're on your purpose, that's fine too, honestly, because as a byproduct, some you know, more than one or one will come along because she finds your focus attractive. Now, I know some of you guys are going to say, but your channel is titled Life as a Chad. Guys, again, as I've said, number one, it's mostly tongue in cheek. Okay. It's me taking the piss out of myself. But number two, I would also say that being a Chad is a mindset, and knowing your purpose and being on it. So I hope this video helps you guys. I wish I had this information at the very beginning. It would have saved me so much fucking time. Don't get in your head about how you need to do this. If you don't do this, then it's totally going to fuck it up. And no chick is going to like you if you don't make this and you don't have this. And guys, it's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. Yes. At the end of the day, women, you know, there's several things that women find attractive. And on an individual level, some women care more about this and this and this. But generally speaking, what women like is confidence, being on your purpose, being focused, being honorable, being a gentleman, having ambition. Those are the general things that women find attractive. All right, guys, thank you guys so much for listening. Like, comment, share, subscribe. You know the drill. I will talk to you homies next time. DBAP, don't be a pussy willow, and facts are feelings because your feelings just don't matter. See you guys next time. Bye-bye.